Distraction is proud to be sponsored by Omega Bright, the premier natural advanced omega-3 formula for mind, heart, and joint health. If you don't prioritize and reserve time for what matters most to you, you have to say, no, I can't give that time away. No, I can't let people interrupt me during dinner with a text message or with a cell phone. And I won't let my children do that. And when they say why, explain to them that it's a medical matter. It's much more than just mommy likes to deny you pleasure in every way she possibly can. You know, it's at least as important as brushing your teeth. Indeed, much more important.
Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm Sarah Gurtin, producer of the show. This week we have a special treat for you as you're about to hear a talk Dr. Hallowell recently gave to a live audience about our 24/7 crazy busy modern world and how to regain control of our lives. Here he is at the Manhasset Public Library in Manhasset, New York.
Thank you. We're living in a very special time in history. It's unique. We are, the Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. We are living in very interesting times. And I'm 67 years old. I won't live long enough to see how it all pans out. But we're really on a maiden voyage. Not since Gutenberg invented the printing press has a technology changed everyday life, the way the invention of electronic communications technology has changed the way we live every day, the way kids go to school, the way businesses are run, the way relationships are conducted. Pretty much everything we do is impacted minute to minute by these electronic devices. And it's hard for us to make sense of it because we're in the midst of it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Not true when it comes to this, because we've never seen it before. We've never been living with this before. So we can't look to historical precedents and say, well, how did they deal with this back in the Roman Empire? Or how did they deal with this, 100 years ago? We're the experimental animals. And we're part of a massive behavioral conditioning experiment. We're like so many lab rats. And in many ways, we're behaving as if we had no control. And that's what I want to caution you against this evening. Whether you're talking about your role as a parent, or your role as a partner, or your role as a business manager, employee, whatever your role. My role as a doctor, medicine has been changed dramatically. I went to see my orthopedic surgeon. I have 2 artificial hips, and he was practically in tears talking about how the electronic records requirements keep him from talking to patients. So it's everywhere you look, you see the unintended consequences. At the same time, I'm no Luddite. I'm not saying, let's turn back the clock. Number one, we couldn't if we wanted to. But number 2, this technology does a lot of good. We're able to do things in seconds that used to take weeks, months. As a writer, believe me, word processing changed my life dramatically. I remember my first book I wrote longhand because I was not very good on the old-fashioned typewriters. And then, and then it was a matter of carbon paper and eraser tape and all that. And now it's just fantastic what you can do as a writer. So the technology used properly is a tremendous blessing. Used improperly, it's a terrible curse. What I call the modern paradox is what we're living in the midst of. We are super connected electronically, like never before in human history. It's the defining achievement of our era. Historians will look back and talk about these years as the years that the entire globe became so connected. You really can't be anywhere and not be reached. I'm old enough to remember when the mail used to come once or twice a day. Now it comes once or twice a second. And we're still rushing to get the mail as if it were coming once or twice a day, because there's something irresistible about an unopened message. And that's one of the little traps that this technology sets. You've got to open it, even if you know it's stupid, even if you know it's annoying or boring. You've got to open it. And again, as I say, we're these lab rats that are behaving as if we had no control. We're allowing ourselves to become crazy busy. I wrote a book some years ago called Crazy Busy, Overbooked, Overstretched, and About to Snap. And it's this phenomenon. If we don't become aware of it, we allow ourselves to go faster and faster and faster. Our response to becoming overbooked and having more to do than time to do it is not to begin to eliminate things, it's to try to go faster. And literally, we've fallen in love with the phenomenon of speed. And that paradox is we are super connected electronically, but what we've allowed to happen is that we're disconnecting interpersonally. And that's the paradox. You would think that the technology would serve the human connection. Instead, it's replacing it. And you find people feeling more and more alone. Not being alone, but feeling alone. And lest you think that is a trivial matter, the Surgeon General of the United States was asked, what is the number one medical problem facing the United States today? Number one medical problem facing this country today. You'd think heart disease, you'd think high blood pressure, you'd think obesity, you'd think cancer. No. According to our Surgeon General, the number one medical problem facing the country today is social isolation. People feeling more alone. It is a medical problem. And most people don't realize this, but it has been proven over and over again, so now it is an accepted medical fact, that social isolation is as dangerous a risk factor for early death as cigarette smoking. Feeling alone, feeling lonely, even if you're surrounded by people, is really bad for you. It is as dangerous as smoking cigarettes. And most people don't realize that. If I asked you all to list the risk factors for early death, or you'd tick off high blood pressure, family history, cigarette smoking, obesity, cholesterol, not wear your seatbelts, you know all of those, none of you probably would say social isolation. Because we don't realize how bad it is, largely because it's never been this bad. It's never been the kind of problem it is today. People have never been as isolated, and as I say, it's paradoxical because we look like we're just one big, jolly, connected family. On Facebook, on Twitter, on email, on website, we think, oh my gosh, we're all so connected. Well, we're electronically connected, but we're not connected in the way that matters. We're not connected in the way that's meaningful. You see, disconnection depresses immune function, depresses the kind of neurochemicals you need for well-being. It reduces your capacity to feel the kind of zest you want to feel for life. It induces a kind of low-grade lethargy, a kind of I'm alive but not loving it. By coming here tonight, you have basically self-selected as people who want to connect. Instead of watching this online, nothing against the people who are, but instead of watching it virtually, you went to the trouble, and it's considerable trouble, of coming out after work, getting dressed. You could be lying in your bathrobe at home or something. You're getting dressed, meeting people, never know who you're going to meet, risking your life on the roadways. You did all you had to do to show up here in person. And in so doing, I can tell you, you all are connectors. You all are the people who this world really needs, because you'll go out of your way to show up somewhere in person. And it's in your DNA. The world really needs you now. I won't go into all the science, but it's abundant. Christakis and Fowler's great book, Connected, if you want to read it, if you want a resource, it details the many ways in which this has been proven proven scientific fact that we need the human connection. And what's happened is the electronic moment is displacing the human moment. The electronic moment, which is wonderful in its own way for the right reasons, is displacing the human moment. And you need the human moment for things like trust and love and the conveyance of this force that humans can convey to one another in person but can't do any other way. And we take it for granted. We don't realize the damage we're doing to ourselves. You know, we talk about pollution and global warming and all that. Well, this one is right there, equally important, if not more so, and it's not being talked about. Good news is you have the power to solve it. Tonight, you can go home and say, I resolve from this day forward to every day get my doses of Vitamin Connect. And I'm going to see to it that my children do, that my partners do, that the people I work with do. I'm going to give it to strangers on the street by smiling at them. And guess what? You get something. It's not just them who get something. I may feel artificial, but go ahead and do it anyway. It works. I'm going to walk around from this day forward intentionally connecting. And that also means I'm going to walk around not being open to everyone everywhere all the time. Because in order to have a richly, positively connected life, you have to have boundaries. You have to not be this totally permeable membrane that says, have at me, world. Because one of the facts, Newton's law of modern life, if you don't take your time, it will be taken from you. If you don't prioritize and reserve time for what matters most to you, family dinner, walking the dog, going to church or synagogue, I don't know what matters most to you, but things that are just rich in Vitamin Connect, you have to protect them. You have to say, no, I can't give that time away. No, I can't let people interrupt me during dinner with a text message or with a cell phone. And I won't let my children do that. And when they say why, explain to them that it's a medical matter. It's much more than just mommy likes to deny you pleasure in every way she possibly can. It's at least as important as brushing your teeth, indeed much more important. But the great news is we do have the power to control this, to prioritize, to decide what does matter most, and then build the boundaries so we're sure to get it. So you don't end up being the kind of person, which is altogether too common, who collapses into bed at the end of every day saying, another day where I didn't get done what I wanted to get done. Another day where I was run ragged. Another day where I dealt with unexpected interruptions, almost always bad news. Another day when I got angry at people I wished I hadn't of, where I lost my patience, where I felt depleted, where I just didn't be the person I wanted to be. How many times do you end your day like that? And it's so common. Well, the reason is you're not using the control you do have. You're not creating boundaries. You're not prioritizing. You're not training your family, your friends, your coworkers as to when you can be reached and when you can't be reached. People will respect you for doing it. If you say, I'm off email between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., at first they'll complain, and then they'll get used to it, and they'll say, yeah, you can't reach her. And then they'll say, gee, why don't I try that? You know, why am I giving it away?
We're going to pause right here to take a moment to talk a little bit about our sponsor, Omega Bright, the premier natural advanced omega-3 formula for mind, heart, and joint health. I've been taking Omega Bright for a few months now, and I really, really like the benefits. I have more energy in the morning, and I just feel better overall. And that makes sense because Omega Bright has been scientifically formulated to promote heart health, joint comfort and mobility, a brighter mood, and to support overall health and well-being, which I have definitely felt an improvement of. I've actually taken other supplements in the past, and didn't like the fishy aftertaste, and I didn't notice any change, so I stopped taking them. But with Omega Bright, I did notice a difference, and I do feel better. So that's what I really liked about it, and that's why I keep taking it. As you know, Dr. Hallowell recommends it to his patients, and many people here around the studios now take it, and they felt the benefits as well. So if you'd like to order Omega Bright, call them directly at 1-800-383-2030. That's 800-383-2030. Or you can go to our website, distractionpodcast.com, and click on the Omega Bright logo. Now back to Dr. Hallowell.
People, particularly men, don't realize the return on investment, if you will, of nurturing a very deep friendship. You don't want to have 1,000 friends. That's the absurdity of Facebook. 1,000 friends. They're not friends. They're whatever they are. They're data points. But 1 or 2 deep friendships, oh my gosh, it extends your life. It deepens your life. It brings what we call meaning. And that's the problem in modern life if you're not careful. It's all so superficial. It's plentiful, but it's shallow. It's a lot of data points, but very little depth. So, time for a friend. Time for your partner, if you happen to have a person that you live with. Time for not just, what are you doing, when am I going to see you? A time for intimacy. The single biggest sexual problem in the country today has nothing to do with erectile dysfunction. It's people aren't making love as much as they would like to. Why? Because at the end of the day, when they would otherwise be doing that, they want to go to sleep. You know, they don't make time for lovemaking. And if they don't make time for lovemaking, they don't make time for intimate conversation. So make time for in-depth. If it's not actually making love, it's conveying love, feeling love, expressing love, lingering. Make time for places that matter to you, traditions, rituals, connecting to the past, connecting to larger, whatever is larger than self. Make time for connecting to favorite activities, whatever they might happen to be, a garden. Pets, they happen to be my favorite. And you see, most of these are free or cost very little. And all it requires is that you prioritize, that you stop, that you take back control that you've given away, that you stop being the little rat in the global behavioral conditioning experiment. And you say, no, my time on this planet is brief enough. I'm not going to give it away to superficial data processing. I'm going to insist that I see my sister once a month, or I'm going to insist that I walk my dog, or I'm going to insist that I cuddle up with the person I love. I'm going to insist on this. I'm not going to let modern life rob me of it. And if you do that, I mean, the rewards are immense. Longevity, fulfillment, happiness, a zest for life will come back instead of feeling harried and all that. And then you can begin to master this little thing, this little screen that we have allowed to worm its way into our existence. You said, how do we get them off of them? And it's not a trivial question, because these electronics have become the newest form of addiction. And that's because these screens, when the screens were one way, when it was television, that was one thing, and people could overdo television. But now, the screen has become interactive. And what that does is it opens up the dopamine circuitry. And that's what drives all addictions. All addictions. It's all about this little squirt of dopamine. And once you get it, you want to keep getting it. And opening your email, surfing the net, it becomes in and of itself at least habit forming, and it can progress right along to addiction. There are now inpatient treatment units for people who have electronic screen addiction. Instead of sitting back and reflecting on life, you go like this. You're in the airport. Notice what people are doing during delays, waiting for plane. Are they striking up conversations with strangers? Are they reading some interesting book? No, they're either looking at Wolf Blitzer coming down from CNN, or they've got their little iPhone. And believe me, I'm not, setting myself up as any better. I'll do the same thing. I'll bring it out, start. For what? It's just a conditioned reflex. So abstinence is not the answer. Some is good, probably necessary for most of our lives. But when it becomes too much, that's when you need to get out of the addict's favorite defense, which is denial. I don't have a problem with it. And own it. And then work with your family, work with your place of work, work with whatever, to help each other. Because everybody has the part. It's not just the kids. We all wrestle with it. Help each other turn them off for certain amounts of time. Don't take it to bed with you. Couples that I see regularly, usually the husband, and the wife humbly says, could you leave your cell phone downstairs? No, I can't. I have to have it. And it's comical to listen to him justify why he has to have his cell phone next to his bed in case someone wants him at 3 a.m. It is the biggest obstacle, in my opinion, to leading a richly connected life, connected interpersonally life that we face in modern life. And again, such good news. This, we have it in our power to solve in our own individual lives. We owe it to our children to take it seriously. We owe it to our coworkers because everyone in the workplace is wrestling with this. You alone shouldn't be making up the policy, but you should raise it as a matter of discussion in wherever you work because it's a big deal. And then have whatever forum you bring things like that up in to develop a policy. You will, number one, be more productive, but number two, you'll be happier. You'll be calmer. You'll come out of that frantic state people get into when they're overbooked, overworked, and about to snap. The fundamental message that I have for you is to take back control, to stop being the rat in the global behavioral conditioning experiment, to take back control and to do it as a team, be it a family, a school, a workplace, a community. Recommit or commit for the first time to what matters most to you. Relationships, a project at work you know you're not doing justice to because you're allowing yourself to be interrupted so much. A garden, if that's what you happen to love, a boat, golf, whatever it might happen to be. Give yourself permission. This time spent connecting is not a frill. It is not a frill. And the solution to modern life is not to work harder. It's to work smarter. And to love smarter. To connect smarter. To use the knowledge we have and to use the freedom we have to make choices that pretty much everyone would like to make. I doubt there's a person in this room who will raise her hand or his hand and say, that's nonsense. I wish I were busier. For most people, it's where do I find some peace and quiet? Where do I find some time to be with the people I love, to work on the work that matters to me, to develop these ideas that I've had and I keep chronically putting on the back burner, to fulfill my dreams. And the beauty, particularly of living in this country, is we have the freedoms, the political freedoms to do that, but psychologically we are allowing ourselves to be imprisoned by demands we didn't mean to accept, obligations we didn't mean to sign up for. And I guess I'm saying to you, get rid of the leeches in your life. Get rid of the people and projects that aren't worth it. And instead, cultivate the lilies, the people or projects that are worth it. In my own case, the top of the list, my kids, my wife, and the books I'm writing and the patients I see. Those are all lilies. And so I try to get rid of overcommitment, screen-sucking time. And it's always a battle. At core, I'm an addict at heart. I'll overdo anything. So I have to watch it. And if I can do it, you can do it, for sure. Well, thank you all for coming out, and thank you for your attention.
All right, well, that's our show for today. We'd love to hear what you think about distraction. Susie Kisses wrote us a review on iTunes, which we loved, and she wrote, "These podcasts have been awesome so far and extremely helpful. So far, the best I have gotten to listen to for help on ADHD. Thank you, Dr. Hallowell and team, for bringing this amazing blessing to us all in need of it." Thanks so much to Susie Kisses for leaving us that review on iTunes. If you'd like to take a moment and leave us a review as well on iTunes, we'd really appreciate it. And if you have any thoughts or questions for Dr. Hallowell, show ideas, please send us an email. You can send that to connect@distractionpodcast.com. We really, really appreciate it. On behalf of Dr. Hallowell and everyone here at Distraction, thank you so much for listening.
Remember to check out our sponsor, Omega Bright. Go to omegabright.com, a 100% natural and advanced omega-3 formula. Call 1-800-383-2030. That's 1-800-383-2030. Or go to distractionpodcast.com and click on the Omega Bright logo. Or go directly to Omega Bright's site and order the product. It is a life saver, life extender, life enhancer for sure. Distraction is produced by Collisions, the podcast division of CRN International. Collisions, podcasts for curious people. Our music was created by Mark Berman. Our audio engineer is Scott Person, and our producer is Sarah Gurton.